Tonight, ICE agents head to the nation's airports as TSA staffing shortages are fueling delays and long lines. Iran refuses to back down after President Trump's new deadline, and Savannah Guthrie's family makes an emotional plea. First, the travel turmoil. President Trump doubles down, threatening to deploy ICE agents to airports tomorrow. The partial government shutdown has TSA officers working without pay, and with more calling out, it means longer lines and wait times for travelers at some of the country's biggest airports at the peak of spring break travel season. The transportation secretary warns it could get much worse. Lawmakers are working through the weekend as the partial government shutdown is now in its 41st day, trying to reach a deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Morgan Norwood reports from Newark Airport, and Jay O'Brien is on the Hill tonight. President Trump issues a deadline to open the Strait of Hormuz by Monday night, or he says he'll, quote, obliterate Iranian power plants. More U.S. troops are heading to the region. How Iran is responding. ABC's Soufi Burridge is in Jerusalem. The new desperate plea from Savannah Guthrie and her siblings with a renewed push for answers. Their 84-year-old mother, Nancy, now missing for nearly 2 months. The dangerous, record-breaking spring heat wave, a rare heat dome, bakes the West, and even more records could be shattered this week. A bright fireball spotted over the skies of Texas, and the Houston area woman's up-close and personal encounter with a possible meteorite. The wedding disaster. Just as the ceremony got underway, the floor collapsed, injuring at least 6 people. The thrills and heartbreak of March Madness. On the women's side, the top seeds roll on as the men battle for a spot in rarefied air, the Sweet 16. And America Strong tonight, the runner reminding us all the finish line isn't just where you end, it's where possibility begins.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. We begin tonight with growing travel chaos coast to coast and a new extraordinary move from President Trump, ordering federal immigration agents to step in at the nation's airports as early as tomorrow. Passengers are stranded, lines are stretching for hours, and frustration is boiling over. Travelers packed into terminals like here at New York's LaGuardia Airport, facing long delays and fears of missed flights. Similar scenes are unfolding nationwide, including New Orleans, where one traveler described the situation as absolute chaos. The root of the crisis, a partial government shutdown, forcing many TSA officers to call out, unwilling to work without pay. The hardest hit airports, Houston, New Orleans, Atlanta, and JFK, are seeing the highest call out rates. Borders Czar Tom Homan says he wants ICE agents to handle security so TSA officers can focus on passengers and bag screenings. We have team coverage tonight, beginning with ABC's Morgan Norwood, leading us off from Newark Liberty International Airport.
With scenes like these taking over airports from coast to coast,
4 hours.
Tonight, the political standoff in Washington now colliding with the busy spring break travel crush. The president doubling down on his threat to send ICE agents into airports Monday unless a deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security is reached. Caught in the middle, some 60,000 TSA officers staring down yet another week without a paycheck. Many now calling out, stifling operations at major airports. A record 3,250 agents, more than 11.5% of the TSA workforce, calling out nationwide on Saturday, the largest percent since the beginning of the shutdown. Places like Houston, New Orleans, Atlanta, and JFK with call-out rates between 30 and 40%. Those call-outs fueling lines winding through terminals and checkpoints choked with travelers. From New Orleans, where TSA lines stretched into the parking lot, Houston and Atlanta, to New York's JFK Airport. But despite the frustration, passengers I spoke with at Newark Airport say ICE isn't the answer.
I think getting our TSA agents back to work is what would make the difference.
The president's threat also raising questions about ICE's training and readiness for security operations.
They run those same type of security machines at the southern border, right? Packages come through or people come through, they run similar assets.
But ICE is interior enforcement. They do not operate screening equipment at the border. Borders Czar Tom Homan suggesting ICE would largely jump in to free up TSA agents for specialized tasks like passenger and bag screenings.
But there are roles we can play to release TSA officers from the non-significant roles, such as guarding an exit, so they can get back to the scanning machines and move people quicker.
And now billionaire Elon Musk offering to pay the salaries of TSA personnel. That means covering the 3 weeks of missed pay for the roughly 60,000 TSA employees who, according to federal data, make about $61,000 per year, a check that would cost millions.
And Lindsay, we are just getting word of the situation down in Houston, one of its busiest airports, George Bush Intercontinental Airport, seeing 3 of its 4 checkpoints topping wait times of more than 3 hours, with Terminal E, one of the busiest terminals, seeing nearly 4-hour wait times, Lindsay.
Major disruptions. Morgan, thank you. Lawmakers are working on a deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Let's get right to our Capitol Hill correspondent, Jay O'Brien. Jay, any progress with these negotiations?
Yeah, Lindsay, 37 days now since the Department of Homeland Security ran out of funding, and there are negotiations, but they're really at a crawl pace. The Senate was in town today and yesterday for a rare weekend session, so lawmakers were together, and I'm told progress was made, but there are also concerns that this new plan of President Trump's to deploy ICE agents to airports could stall some of that momentum. Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski, a moderate, telling me today that this is not helpful in the overall goal of getting DHS funded. The president's plan of deploying ICE. Remember, Democrats are holding firm. They're refusing to vote to fund DHS without reforms to ICE. And Democrats have tried numerous piecemeal attempts to fund agencies within the department like TSA, just not ICE and Border Patrol. Republicans have blocked those, saying that if one thing is to be funded, everything should be funded. Negotiations are likely to drag at least well into this week now, Lindsay.
All right, Jay O'Brien, thanks for the update. Overseas now to the war in Iran. President Trump with a new deadline to open the Strait of Hormuz, but Iran is defiant, promising to retaliate and escalating the attacks against Israel. The dramatic images coming in tonight from across the region. ABC's Soufi Burridge reports from Jerusalem.
Tonight, President Trump giving Iran a 48-hour ultimatum amid escalating Iranian attacks on Israel. Writing on Truth Social, Trump warning Iran if it doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, the US will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first.
It seems we are at an inflection point because the president has put a very precise day and time at when the strait needs to be open. And if it's not open, the threat is to take out the electrical grid within Iran. That kind of threat probably has to be met if the Iranians don't agree to open the straits.
It comes after the US orders thousands more Marines and sailors on board amphibious landing ships to the region.
The Marines themselves don't have the ability to clear the strait. What you need to clear the strait is the ability to take out all the coastal defenses, to include the fast boats that the Iranians use to attack shipping.
And as the president threatens a major escalation, Iran ramping up attacks on Israel. Dramatic video showing an Iranian ballistic missile slamming into the city of Dimona in southern Israel. Nearby soon after, a second Iranian direct strike in the city of Arad. Both missiles breaching Israel's high-tech, multi-layered air defenses, and both hitting residential districts.
Look at the way the blast ripped away the facade of that building. The missile hit here, right in amongst these residential blocks. We're told dozens of people, families, were inside at the time. This could have been much worse.
Those two attacks happening near to a nuclear research centre linked to Israel's undeclared nuclear weapons program. Israeli officials saying more than 120 injured in multiple Iranian strikes in the past 24 hours. And tonight, Pope Leo yet again urging a ceasefire, calling the war scandal to the whole human family. While in Florida, Major Cody Cork, one of 13 Americans to have died in the Iran war, was this weekend laid to rest.
Lindsay, tonight, Iran accusing President Trump of, quote, delirious threats. Iranian officials rebuffing Trump's demand to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And that 48-hour ultimatum from President Trump set to expire on Monday night. Lindsay?
Tom in Jerusalem for us. Thank you. Next tonight, Cuba plunged into darkness, the second blackout in a week for the Caribbean island and the third this month. It comes as the country prepares for a possible attack after threats by President Trump. Let's get to ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang. Selena, what's the latest here?
Well, Lindsay, tonight Cuba says its military is actively preparing for a possible U.S. attack. It comes as President Trump has repeatedly vowed to take Cuba, insisting the communist nation is on the verge of collapse. Now, since the U.S. ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro back in January, Cuba's main supplier of oil has been choked off, and that's triggered weeks of blackouts. Some nights the entire island goes dark, and it's not just fuel. There's also been shortages of food and medicine. Now, Trump has been explicit here. The goal is regime change. But tonight, Cuba is drawing a hard line, saying regime change is off the table. So the two sides are talking, Lindsay, but they're very far apart.
Selena Wang for us, thank you. Nancy Guthrie has been missing now for nearly 2 months. Her family is making a new emotional plea for answers. They're asking her Tucson neighbors to think back about any detail, no matter how small, that could help break this case. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
Tonight, a new plea for answers from Nancy Guthrie's family. The search for the 84-year-old entering its 7th week without many clues pointing toward who took Guthrie or if she's alive. For weeks, Savannah Guthrie asking the public for help.
We need to know where she is. We need her to come home.
And tonight, a new statement. Nancy Guthrie's children writing, quote, "We miss our mom with every breath, and we cannot be in peace until she is home. We want to celebrate her beautiful and courageous life, but we cannot do that until she is brought to a final place of rest." Earlier this month, the sheriff in Pima County saying his department continues to analyze evidence in the case. The most solid clue continues to be this video from Guthrie's front doorbell camera showing a masked man with a gun on his hip early on February 1st when she went missing. In recent weeks, the FBI recovered additional imagery from Guthrie's cameras, according to sources, but they say the cameras recorded nothing suspicious.
Someone out there knows something that can bring her home.
Tonight, Guthrie's family is making another call for tips to be turned in. They write, "We desperately ask this community for renewed attention to our mom's case. Please consult camera footage, journal notes, text messages, observations, or conversations that in retrospect may hold significance." And Lindsay, Pima County Sheriff now says he believes a kidnapping was targeted, but he won't elaborate on the evidence. Lindsay?
Alex, thank you. Now to that record-breaking heat wave smothering the West. Cities like Las Vegas and Denver are shattering their records for the month of March, and more records could be broken this week. Here's WABC's Danny Beckstrom.
Tonight, a dangerous spring heat wave breaking records across the West. From California to the plains, scorching temperatures. In Phoenix, 105-degree temperatures for a third straight day, tying the all-time March record. At Luke Air Force Base, more than 100,000 people attended the Luke Days Air Show, where temperatures on the airfield run about 20 degrees hotter than the surrounding area. Officials say more than 400 people were treated for heat-related issues. About 25 people rushed to local hospitals.
Of those individuals who were treated, 90% of them were guests under the age of 12, over the age of 60, or those with pre-existing medical conditions.
Yesterday, dozens of cities set record highs for the day, with a handful matching or surpassing their hottest March temperature of all time, such as Salt Lake City and Denver, with more unprecedented heat holding into the work week. And in Hawaii, cleanup efforts now underway after that historic flooding on Oahu. Governor Josh Green saying the storm could cost upwards of $1 billion.
This is going to have a very serious consequence for us as a state.
Water levels of the 120-year-old Wahiawa Dam stabilizing after fears it would fail. Today, evacuation orders lifted, but flood watches remain for most of the islands.
And Danny joins us now. We know that you're tracking that dangerous heat wave and catastrophic flooding in Hawaii.
Let's start with Hawaii. The heavy rain is wrapping from west to east, which means Kauai's been dropped from the flood watch. But for islands like Maui and the Big Island, we still could see several more inches of rain before this wraps by the middle of the week. And this is all connected. The jet stream directing that atmospheric river over the islands, also holding the heat dome in place, now directing storms into the northeast U.S. We'll get to that in a second, but want to touch on the heat that holds through the west throughout the work week. Record highs still expected to fall, and now that heat is shifting into parts of the plains and south by the middle of the week. Tonight, strong to severe thunderstorms firing up as we speak in parts of Pennsylvania and Ohio, and that's the bullseye tonight for the strong to severe thunderstorm threat right over central PA with drenching downpours, hail, and destructive wind possible. This line loses the severe potential moving toward the I-95 corridor overnight, but still a wet start to the Monday morning commute.
All right, wild ride again, Danny. Thank you. Now to the meteorite crashing into a home in the Houston area. A bright fireball was spotted over the Texas sky. Scientists say it weighed about a ton and traveled 35,000 miles per hour before breaking apart and then tearing through a roof. What the homeowner is saying tonight. Here's ABC's Christian Cordero.
Tonight, NASA says that bright spot.
Whoa. You didn't see that?
And a loud sonic boom over the Lone Star State was a meteor flying 35,000 miles per hour just outside of Houston, Texas. The meteor Saturday stealing the show at this Little League game and breaking apart a little too close to home for Sherry James.
I come on over here and look. There's a hole in the ceiling, a big dent in the floor. Another little piece broke off in the ceiling, and there's a big rock on the floor. And it just scared me to death.
Sherry says she heard a loud bang and couldn't believe her eyes. NASA estimates the asteroid was 3 feet in diameter and weighing about a ton before entering the atmosphere. It comes less than a week after another powerful blast shook the ground.
It was just like a boom!
This fireball breaking up over Ohio on Tuesday is now sparking curiosity among those looking for a piece of space dust to call their own. As for Sherry, Lindsay, she told our Houston affiliate she's calling NASA to authenticate the rock, and then she says she's buying a lottery ticket.
Sounds like a good plan. Christian, thank you. Still ahead on World News tonight this Sunday, a dream wedding takes a shocking turn when the floor suddenly gives way beneath guests. And from major upsets to last-second thrills, the road to the Sweet 16 is anything but predictable. Next tonight, the dramatic scene at a New Hampshire wedding. 6 people with non-life-threatening injuries were rushed to area hospitals Saturday afternoon when the floor at a wedding venue collapsed. First responders report half the floor where the wedding ceremony was set to happen suddenly gave way. Investigators are now working to determine a cause. And when we come back, a surfing coach turns hero, rescuing a father and daughter from danger. To the Index, a Southern California surf coach is being hailed a hero for saving a father and daughter who got caught in a rip current. The dramatic rescue happened at a surfing contest. Video shows Lucas Taub jumping into the water, fully clothed and swimming toward the pair as they fought to stay above water. Both father and daughter were brought back to shore, and neither sustained any injuries. The first weekend of March Madness is winding down, but the race to the Sweet 16 is heating up. Number 11 Texas knocking off number 3 Gonzaga. Meanwhile, Nebraska is dancing its way into the Sweet 16 after a heart-stopping win over Vanderbilt. The Huskers battled back in the final minute, sinking a clutch layup with just 2.2 seconds left. The Commodores with one last shot, but it miraculously bounced off the rim. Nebraska, which has never won a tournament game, has now won its last 2. And on the women's side, the top seeds are holding strong. UConn, UCLA, Texas, and South Carolina led the field, with undefeated UConn setting the pace. You can catch more on the women's tournament on ESPN. When we come back, a blind runner makes history in New York, powered by AI glasses. America Strong is next. Finally tonight, America Strong, a groundbreaking first at a New York finish line. The runner in yellow, wearing a hat, is Thomas Panic, moving steadily toward the finish at the United Airlines New York Half Marathon last weekend. Running not just with endurance, but with trust. Thomas has not allowed his blindness to slow him down. He's now completed more than 20 full marathons and countless half marathons around the globe. And on this day, 13.1 miles through the streets of New York, guided not only by a partner at his side, but a new kind of vision.
Hey, it's fantastic.
In that moment, a finish line and a first, as he helps redefine what's possible. Thomas is believed to be the first blind runner to complete a half marathon supported by assistive AI glasses.
Okay, we're good.
Co-developed by Meta and Lighthouse Guild. Glasses that turn sight into sound, transmitting what lay ahead to a coach miles away in Colorado, who then became Thomas's eyes in real time.
Just telling me everything around me, when the turn's coming, mile markers, what runners are ahead of me.
It was an emotional milestone, being able to run somewhat independently through the streets of New York City,
Tonight, a glimpse of how technology can do more than connect us, it can empower us.
To help people not just run a marathon, but get to the grocery store, get to the pharmacy, get to school.
A reminder that progress is not just measured in miles, but in possibility. Love to see that. I'm Lindsay Davis in New York. Have a great evening. Good night.